We were warned about Trump and tariffs. We were warned, ladies and gentlemen. We were warned about the dangers of tariffs for many, many decades. Watch.
And let me put it very plainly. If we Republicans choose Donald Trump as our nominee, the prospects for a safe and prosperous future are greatly diminished. Let me explain why I say that. First, on the economy. If Donald Trump's plans were ever implemented, the country would sink into prolonged recession. A few examples. His proposed 35% tariff-like penalties would instigate a trade war, and that would raise prices for consumers, kill our export jobs, and lead entrepreneurs and businesses of all stripes to flee America. His tax plan, in combination with his refusal to reform entitlements and to honestly address spending, would balloon the deficit and the national debt. So even though Donald Trump has offered very few specific economic plans, what little he has said is enough to know that he would be very bad for American workers and for American families. But you say, wait. Isn't he a huge business success? Doesn't he know what he's talking about? No, he isn't. And no, he doesn't. Look, his bankruptcies have crushed small businesses and the men and women who work for them. He inherited his business. He didn't create it. And whatever happened to Trump Airlines? How about Trump University? And then there's Trump Magazine and Trump Vodka and Trump Steaks and Trump Mortgage. A business genius he is not.
Even Ronald Reagan warned us about the dangers of someone. He was referring to a person that turned out to be named Donald Trump, although Ronald Reagan had no idea who Donald Trump was at the time.
You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports. For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing. And today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery.
Elizabeth Warren says Democrats are ready with a plan.
So right now, we've got every Democrat lined up saying we are ready to declare we are not in an emergency, we are not at war with France, with Canada, with Italy. Can we just go through the whole list? With Japan, with South Korea? We are not. And if a handful of Republicans will join us, we have the power to put a stop to this tariff catastrophe that Donald Trump is putting in place and pulling our economy into a ditch.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta has filed his 13th lawsuit against the Trump administration. This one to recover the $200 million in COVID funds the Trump administration is trying to steal from California. Meanwhile, the leaders of Russia and China met recently, and the results were not good for the United States. Watch. According to this, they're actually saying that conditions have never been better in 100 years. That's because of Trump's actions against his own country, the United States. That's treason, 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 folks. Treason. They're plotting our downfall. The United States must win. We can't let them win. For more news like this, subscribe to the Vlog Report with Zenny62 and bookmark zenny report.com.